Are you constantly struggling with painful sciatica, that sharp, burning, aching pain running down your leg? If so, you've probably been told to stretch your hamstrings. And of course, this would make sense because it feels tight at the back of your leg. But here's the truth. Instead of solving the problem, it almost always makes it feel worse. Because if we don't get to the root cause of where the problem actually is, we'll never get lasting relief. So in this video, I'm going to show you 2 simple exercises to help you relieve your sciatic pain and get to the root cause of the issue, the spine. These simple exercises help you relieve pressure on the nerve, which is the likely root cause, and what you can do to strengthen the spine so that over time, you can become much more resilient. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm a chiropractor and a master's of science in exercise, and I've helped hundreds of people get out of hip, knee, and lower back pain. So let's get started. So most people with sciatica feel the pain in the back of their leg. You'll feel it in the hamstring, maybe even behind the knee, in the calf, and sometimes all the way down to your toes. So naturally you think, my hamstring is tight, therefore I need to stretch it. But sciatica is almost always not a hamstring problem. The real issue comes from your lower back, which is where the sciatic nerve actually begins. And so what happens when we get older or when we just have weaker spines is that our spinal discs, without proper movement and muscle strength, can begin to lose some of their flexibility. And if the muscles around the spine aren't strong enough to help regulate this movement, they can begin to bulge outwards where the nerve exits the spine. The other potential cause is where degeneration can build up around where the nerve exits. This can cause the openings to get smaller, which can sometimes put pressure on the nerves. So unfortunately, when you're stretching your hamstring, you're not just stretching a muscle, you're potentially irritating an already frustrated and compressed nerve. And this is why so many people tell me that when they stretch their hamstrings, they often make their sciatica worse. So with this in mind, let's get to the exercises. But before we do that, here's a quick disclaimer. So this first move is one of my favorites for almost immediate pain relief. It's passive, gentle, and really makes a difference in the severity and intensity of the pain that we're feeling. So here's how we do it. Lie on our side with the painful side facing upwards. Then we're going to bend our knees slightly, almost like we're curling up into a ball. Then we're going to place a folded pillow or a blanket or any other soft item underneath our core. And when we do this, this is going to create a gentle arch right around the area where the sciatic nerve exits. And when we do this, we're going to relax for a couple of minutes and allow the joint space to open up. And so what's happening here is actually quite powerful. You're opening up the joint spaces where the nerves exit. In Latin, this is called the foramen. It's the word for opening in medical terms. And so when we do this, this gives the sciatic nerve room to breathe, which reduces irritation. When most people do this, they often describe to me a feeling of soothing or immediate relaxation. Sometimes it even feels like pressure is just melting away. It's honestly quite awesome. And so instead of a painful stretch that irritates the problem, this gives us immediate relief. So like I said, for this exercise, we can just lay here for a couple of minutes and just allow the muscles and the joint space to open up and relax. So what we can do is you can just pause here and let it sit for a couple of minutes, and then we can move on to the next exercise, exercise number 2. So now that we've taken the pressure off the nerve, we do need to get it moving again, but definitely we're going to do this gently. We're going to move the nerve back and forth along its course in areas where maybe it's gotten stuck and there's other potential areas of compression or adhesion. This movement is kind of like flossing your teeth. We call it flossing the nerve. This helps it slide smoothly through the tissues that it runs along instead of getting stuck and adhered. So here's how we're going to do this. We're going to lie on our back and we're going to support our painful leg by grabbing it in the back, kind of behind the thigh. So first, we're going to slowly straighten our knee. Then while we're doing this, we are going to point our toes upwards towards our knee. And then we are going to raise our chin slightly, like we're looking backwards or up at something. Then when we feel like we've reached the end of how far we can go, we're going to do the reverse. We're going to bend the knee, point our toes downward while we do it, and we're also going to bend our chin downwards. And we're going to do this anywhere from 8 to 10 times, back and forth. Now, a few important points to note while we're doing this. We definitely want to move slowly. We never want to bounce. When we're doing this, we should feel a mild stretch, a very gentle stretch, but never a zap and never a sharp pain at the intensity that you were feeling before you did these exercises. We want to go up to where we feel the beginnings of that pain that we were feeling before, but we never want to cause it again. So we will go up to that point, and then when we feel it, we back off of it and reset. Because what we're doing is we're not trying to force flexibility. We're trying to gently reassure the nerve and the brain that everything is moving the way that it should, which over time will allow our body to gradually get stronger and move without pain. So now that we're done this, here's that test that I was talking about to see how it worked for us. What I want you to do is go ahead and retest that gentle hamstring stretch that maybe you were doing before you found this video. The cool part is that most people, when they do this, feel released, relaxed, and all of a sudden their hamstring doesn't feel as tight or compressed anymore. And this is because the actual issue wasn't muscle tightness pressing on the nerve itself. The real issue was at the root of the nerve where it exits the spine. And so by addressing the root cause in the spine, in the low back, the nerve finally relaxes, and so does the muscle. Your muscle was likely just feeling tight because your nerve was irritated. And so now that the nerve is moving smoothly, the muscle can relax. It doesn't have to protect itself anymore. Now, here's some important cautions to note with any sort of low back pain or pain down the leg that we're feeling. If the pain changes or if it begins to go down both legs instead of just one, you definitely should seek help from a medical professional. None of these exercises are meant to cause more pain. They're only meant to be relieving. So if you have any concerns at all, you should go see a trusted health professional in your area. But here's the big takeaway from these exercises. Sciatica is often a lower back problem, not a hamstring problem. Stretching, especially if we haven't addressed the root cause, can actually make it feel worse. So if we can do some gentle decompression by opening up the nerve channel where it exits the spine, this can bring us some real long-term relief. We need to remember to do this daily, stay resilient, and listen to our body. Healing takes time. But I also want you to remember that your body is capable of healing. And sometimes the answer is very simple. So if you found relief from these exercises, don't stop here. In the description, there's a link to join my free group of adults over the age of 50 who are keeping their joints and their low back free of pain and moving for life. So we'd love to come have you join us. And of course, if this video helped you and you know someone who's dealing with the same issue, please share it. Now, if you still have other aching joints, especially in your lower body, like your hips or your knees, in this video, I go over some key lower body exercises that help keep our knees, hips, and lower body strong and moving well for life. Because when all of your joints are working well together and they are strong, you can enjoy your favorite activities again without worrying about whether pain will stop you from doing what you love. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.